Om Agyanatimirandhasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Alright, so let's see what this shloka says. So Krishna is starting to speak again after Arjun has asked his question, and let's see what he speaks. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajo Guna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidhi Enam Iha Varinam. Let's translate this in English and sing. Lust this, wrath this, the mode of passion born of, all devouring, greatly sinful. Know this in the material world, greatest enemy. So, translation by Srila Prabhupada, or glories to Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjun, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So finally, the mystery has been revealed. The mysterious person inside us who inspires us to do abominable acts has been revealed by Krishna to be none other than lust. Well, it's a quality, if you may say so, but it is the one which we many times mistake for the voice of our mind or the voice of God also, as we were discussing in the previous shloka. So it's like, it's a very subtle entity. It's like a flower covered arrow, that it seems like a friend, but in actuality it's an enemy. Now Srila Prabhupada writes the purport in three parts. The first part deals with how the lust is a transformed entity, from love of God. How it is formed by the transformation of love. The second part deals with the origin of the living entities, and the third part deals with the origin of the lust itself and how lust can be spiritualized. So let's see it one by one. So in the first part, we see that Srila Prabhupada tells us that when the material world receives the living entity, we understood in the last video that the living entity itself is a part and parcel of Krishna, so it can never get contaminated. But the consciousness of the living entity may get contaminated when it comes in contact with the material modes of nature. Now, when it comes in contact with this material world, the material modes, the living entity gets contaminated, and the pure love that was in the heart of the living entity for God, for Krishna, also gets transformed to form lust. The analogy that Srila Prabhupada gives here is that of milk transforming into yogurt. We all have this experience in our kitchens, that when milk is brought in contact with a little sour substance like tamarind, it after some time gets modified to form curd. So yogurt or curd is nothing but the transformation of milk. Now let's understand this through another analogy. It was coming to my mind. We see these deforming mirrors, right? In which when we look into these mirrors, our face looks all, distorted, badly distorted, out of shape, grotesque to say that. So, it's something like when our the lights reflecting from our face hit the mirror has a quality that it transforms the perfectly nice image that was going to be formed into a very, very deformed image. Similarly, when the living entities gets in contact, or love gets in contact with the material mode of passion, as Krishna is telling, Rajo Gun Samudbhavaha, which means when love of God, pure love of God, gets in touch with the mode of passion or Rajo Gun, it gets transformed into lust. So here the mode of passion is acting like that deforming mirror, the distorting mirror, and the distorted image of love that we get is lust. So it is said, that everything in this material world is actually a perverted form of the original thing in the spiritual world. This material world is compared to an inverted banyan tree, whereas the spiritual world is the erect banyan tree. So all the nice, pure feelings, pure emotions that one experiences in the spiritual world that exist between the devotees and the Lord are deformed in this world. So here is one such deformation, that is lust. And then it is said that this lust, when degrades into the lower mode of ignorance. Now we know that the modes are of three types. We have the mode of passion, which is in the middle. Then we have a mode of goodness, which is higher than the mode of passion. And we have the mode of ignorance, which is lower than the mode of passion. So when the lust, which is in the mode of passion, gets degraded, it converts into wrath. It converts, or it again transforms in a very distorted way into wrath or anger. How? Now lust means a desire to please one's own senses, a desire to enjoy one's senses in this material world. Now when this particular entity is it gets degraded, or let's say when the desire is not fulfilled, then what happens is that it transforms into anger. I want this, and what if I don't get this? I get angry. We all have experienced this in our lives, that when a desire is not fulfilled, and we get angry about it. Also sometimes we get angry at the person who is coming in the way of our fulfilling this desire. I'm reminded of this small story. It's not actually a story. It's a real incident, that a middle class person was he greatly desired to have a car. So he collects money, and somehow or the other he's able to buy a car, a brand new car, which is like parked in his driveway, and he is watching from the first floor and admiring the car, and suddenly what he sees is that his own son is scratching something on the car. He gets absolutely furious, and he rushes down, and without even thinking twice, he hits the child's knuckles with a sharp substance that he had in his hand, so much so that the child's knuckles are broken. And then after a while, when he comes to his senses, he sees what the child had been writing on it. The child had written, "I love you, Papa." So you see, that extreme desire to own a car actually put this man into so much illusion that he just couldn't understand things as they were, and it actually erupted in the form of anger. and see how much damage it did, right? So wrath eventually comes out, mostly when the desire is not fulfilled, and many times even when the desire is fulfilled, but if somebody is trying to mess up with that fulfilled desire. So this way or that way, lust will definitely degrade into the mode of ignorance to form wrath. So this is one thing that we have to guard against. Rather than degrading it to the lower mode, we can also take it to the higher mode, to the mode of goodness. We'll see how. Now we see that the wrath is the manifestation of the mode of ignorance. It's often said that wrath is the younger brother of lust. So lust comes out because of the mode of passion, and wrath comes out because of the mode of ignorance. And therefore, mode of ignorance is a degradation we must protect ourselves from. We see, then now Srila Prabhupada tells us how did originally the living entities come into being. The living entities were created by God in his own format, for enjoyment. Krishna had a grand plan. He had a grand plan to create all these living entities with whom he could enjoy, right? But side by side, he also gave some independence, some little independence to every living entity to make his or her own choices. Now, the living entities were by design created to be cooperators in enjoyment with the Supreme Lord. You see, the example is given that if the driver of a very rich, very affluent man is, driving in the Rolls Royce or whatever nice cars we can think about, that actually the car is being driven by the driver. So even though the car is owned by the man, but the enjoyer is the driver also. So the driver is enjoying in cooperation, right? Now, many times we, the living entities, make this bad choice. What is a wise choice? The wise choice is that we understand our limited position and connect with the unlimited or limitless Supreme Lord to enjoy unlimited bliss. So let me come again. We are limited, we are small. Krishna is great, he is limitless. So the enjoyment of the living entity independently is very, very limited, very, very small, very, very temporary. If we try to enjoy separately from Krishna, then our enjoyment will be very small and very limited. On the contrary, if we enjoy with Krishna, then we will enjoy limitless bliss. So this is our choice. The wise choice is that we reconnect with the Supreme and enjoy in cooperation, which was the original plan, and enjoy limitlessly and endlessly. Similarly, we have to understand that trying to enjoy ourselves independently is actually a very, very bad choice, because this is, what's happening here is that the desire to serve Krishna, a pure desire that is, and the pure love for Krishna is transforming into lust here. And this lust is actually going to degrade us if we don't pay heed to it, right? And actually this material world has been created by Krishna to accommodate this not such a nice desire of the living entities to enjoy separately. Originally we were living in the spiritual world, enjoying in cooperation with Krishna. But when this living entity made a choice to enjoy separately, just like the son of a very big industrialist someday gets into his mind that I need to go and earn for myself. I don't want to be a part of this empire of my father, So the father may try to convince the son that, see, who is this all for? I made this all for you only. So let's stay together and let's work together, let's enjoy together. But the child may get this, ego in his mind, the false ego. No, I want to go, separately and enjoy myself. So that is how sometimes the father has to create a separate arrangement, for the son to kind of enjoy independently. This is what Krishna did by making this material world, but that was not the original plan. So, however, after a long period of trying to enjoy this material world, a person's lustful desires are eventually frustrated. Again, an analogy is coming to my mind. The children, we all as children have played mock adults. We used to play, okay, mama, we are going to play mock adults. So I am mama, this is papa, these are the children. Now we are going to cook, now we are going to eat. So we get those toy utensils, we try to make some foods, obviously everything is mock food, everything like that. So we are trying to enjoy the mock food and seemingly happy. But then eventually what happens? The child gets really hungry for real food, and then the child rushes back to the mother and says, I want food. So this is what happens to the living entities. After lifetimes of trying to enjoying in this material world, our desires are frustrated, and somewhere then down the line the living entity inquires, why I'm not satisfied, why I'm not happy in this material world. And that's when the inquiry begins. Srila Prabhupada says, the Vedanta Sutra starts with the inquiry, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. This is the first step towards spiritual realization, that we must inquire, who am I? Why am I in this world? What is this world all about? Who is God and what's my relation with Him? So this inquiry is the beginning of the spiritual life. Actually, when one inquires about who one is, who God is, then one starts reading scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam, first shloka, is Janmadi Asya Yataha. It actually says that the Supreme Lord is the origin of everything that exists. So, by that logic, even the lust has its origin somewhere in the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Which means, so here now we're talking about the origin of lust. Where has lust come from? Lust has also actually come from Krishna only, but it's a deformed entity, as we were discussing. So, in the spiritual world exists pure love between the Lord and His devotees. So this pure love, which is called the Adi Rasa, this gets transformed to lust in this material world, right? So the material world acts, as we talked about, as a deforming mirror, and it turns the love into wrath and into lust, and then lust degrades into wrath. So there's a very beautiful, payar from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which says, Atmendriya Priti Vancha Tare Bali Kam Krishnendriya Priti Ichha Dhare Prema Nam. Which means, when one wants to enjoy one's senses, this is called Kam or lust. But when one wants to give pleasure to the senses of Krishna, this is called love. But then, if we just want to give pleasure to Krishna, what about us? Actually, when we try to give pleasure to Krishna's senses, we are also enjoying much more than what we would enjoy separately or independently. That's the beauty of devotional service. That's the beauty of a relationship. Actually, we have no experience of this love in the material world. We can't actually begin to imagine what pure love would be like. Well, the closest example that comes to the spiritual love, which is very selfless, is a mother's love for the child. When we see a mother's love for the child, we see that mother doesn't care about herself. She only is worried about whether the child has been fed and whether the child is bathed and dry and warm. So mother is always looking after the well-being of the child. So that selfless love is the only thing in this material world which comes a little close to spiritual love, although it's also not the same thing. Spiritual love is much more pure and much more magnanimous than whatever we can find in material world. So, however, we understand this pure love is what is our, say, goal or aim, and this is why we have got this human life. We have to inquire about what is our ultimate destination and how to reach it. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada says that we can spiritualize both these qualities, lust also and wrath also. How? Again, this is a wonderful statement. Kam Krishna karmarpane and krodh bhakta dveshi jane, which means that we can utilize kam or lust for fulfilling the some work for Krishna. We're doing some work for Krishna. It could be serving Krishna in the temple, it could be preaching on his behalf, or any other kind of, or looking after our loved ones as representatives of Krishna. So that is the spiritualization of kam or lust. And krodh bhakta dveshi gane, which means we can utilize the krodh to against people who are envious of the devotees, envious of the bhaktas. So that's the right way to spiritualize both these entities. Just like Srila Prabhupada gives us two examples here, just like Hanumanji, he was furious when Ravan insulted Sri Ram, but then he used this anger to burn down Lanka. He did something for Lord Ram. So this is a spiritualization of wrath. Also, as we see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is making Arjun angry. Why? So that he gets up and fights to eliminate all those people who are not following the religious codes. So even anger can be made to do a good job for Krishna. So this is the spiritualization of these two. Now, what does lust do to us? What happens when this enemy manifests in our heart? Actually, it covers our consciousness. How? This is what we are going to see in the next verses. And also, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushanji tells us how to deal with this enemy. Now, it's generally said in the scriptures, you might have heard about Chanakya Niti, Sam, Dam, Dandabhed. We can deal with an enemy with the help of words, sweet words, or using gifts, or giving a higher position, or dand, that is punishment. So this enemy inside us, how to deal with this enemy? We'll see again in the further verses, but there's a hint. Actually, a very, very strong and abominable enemy can be dealt with only one thing, and that is dand, that is punishment. How are we going to punish this enemy inside us? And how does it manifest in our heart? All this comes later. So keep joining in the next sessions to know more about this enemy, lust. And let's see how it comes in our heart, how it covers our consciousness, what it makes us do, and how it hides itself, and how to deal with it. Let's see each other in the further sessions. Till then, please chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and be happy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.